Azealia Banks does not hold back when she wants to share her opinion about something, and sometimes she does it in a really aggressive and vulgar way. Now, she is a very talented musical artist. I'm a big fan of hers, but she had some pretty harsh words for Kendrick Lamar, another artist that I'm very much in favor of. Now, this whole tiff started after Kendrick Lamar shared some commentary on the situation in Ferguson, Missouri. He was referring to police using excessive force and the death of Michael Brown, and here's what he had to say about it. He said, "I wish somebody would look in our neighborhood knowing that it's already a situation mentally where it's fucked up. What happened to Michael Brown should have never happened, never. But when we don't have respect for ourselves, how do we expect them to respect us? It starts from within. Don't start with just a rally. Don't start from looting. It starts from within." Now, to be completely honest with you guys, I don't think that that statement was necessarily wrong, and I actually applaud him for being open and honest, especially when he knew he was going to get a lot of backlash for it. Now, the backlash started with Azealia Banks, and here's what she tweeted to him. Let's take a look. "When we don't respect ourselves, how can we expect them to respect us? Dumbest shit I've ever heard a black man say." She continues, "Do you know about the generational effects of poverty, racism, and discrimination? There are things in society that benefit a select few of us. Fine, but don't put down the rest by saying they don't respect themselves. How dare you open your face to a white publication and tell them that we don't respect ourselves? Speak for your fucking self. I really pray for the minds of the urban youth. I really do, because I was once on the side of feeling like I wasn't owed anything." So she was really upset about it. And it's interesting because in this case, I think there were good points made on both sides. I mean, in the US, we do deal with institutional racism. I mean, if all you have to do is look at our incarceration rate and the number of people who get arrested for drugs, for instance, right? Blacks and whites use marijuana at similar rates, but blacks are disproportionately prosecuted and convicted for the exact same thing. So it's a little bit of an issue, and I like that she touched on that. But I also agree with some of what Kendrick Lamar said. I want to know what you guys think. Andy, make your point.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think Azealia Banks is like a provocateur, right? I mean, that's her thing. And like, I think that it's really harmful when you have somebody who's calling for like reparations and who sort of is like race baiting, and really it moves the football down the field in a way that doesn't necessarily get us in a good direction. I think there's clearly very long-standing issues with racism in this country. I think no one would ever say that that's not a problem and that there's not a conversation to be had about it. It's hard to say like, okay, do we respect ourselves if we're burning down our own community? And I think that like clearly there's big issues with racism in this country, like you talk about. Everybody knows that. That's a conversation that needs to be had. But I think that when you have someone like Azealia Banks who is a provocateur, who does like to just say things, and I think a lot of times like people recognize that maybe she's just saying it to get people riled up. It's dangerous because you have a lot of people on Twitter, especially her followers, who are younger, who are impressionable, and who maybe would just go with the most emotionally provocative thing that they could possibly jump bandwagon on and just be outraged. You know?
There's this obsession with being outraged in the media right now, and it's like every week there's a new issue or topic that everyone is outraged about, and sometimes I really question whether or not the outrage is authentic or sincere. Kim, what do you think? Make your point.
Well, I think you were right in saying that both people in this conversation have points on their side, and neither of them is totally wrong or totally right. I think it's hard to question anyone's motive in this because they both have good motives, but I think there's a mistake in assuming that one person speaks for an entire group, race, religion, political affiliation,
generation,
feminism, and it's a mistake from the inside and also for the people looking on to assume that one person speaks for everyone.
Absolutely. There are different ideologies within every group. So that's a great point. So here's the personal question for the story. What's one behavior that someone called you out on that actually made you change that behavior? Kim.
So when I first started working here, I was also moving into my new apartment. And my car was full of stuff, just random stuff from my house or my room that was being moved into my new room. And it was a mess. It was a huge mess. And then like my dad was like, you should clean your car. Like what if you should drive your boss home? What if you need to impress someone? I said, I won't. Like, no one cares. And then later at some YouTube event, Steve-O was like, can you give me a ride? And I said,
Oh, no.
And
And
I said,
Steve
okay.
does not hold back. He will tell you what he thinks.
Maybe he
You're like
won't
the hoarder.
notice. And he noticed. And he was like, I thought you were put together.
Oh.
I thought, like, you were this, nice, organized person. And I was like, I am. I messed up this one time, And
Oh, no. So did that make you change your behavior? Do you have like a tidy car now?
usually I change.
It's hard, especially when you're in LA and you practically live in
Yes.
your car, right?
Yes.
And
Some
you-
people do.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so when I was in high school, of course, like I don't know why all my stories about high school. Is that telling or something like that? It's
You had a blast in
formidable.
high school, apparently.
So, Jesus. I got called out for being a jerk, and I think that maybe all of us would experience, not you because you're so nice, but I think I can lump us into the same category here.
Wow.
That when you're sort of like an
Wow.
opinionated person,
Jerk
when
move.
you're a lot of times you're going for the joke, maybe when it's very easy to cross that line and to hurt somebody's feelings, right?
Yes.
And I recognize that, and the way that I dealt with it was that I just said shut up and I moved on.
Really?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry. It's such an asshole. It's like I never learn. No, but I mean, it's nice to have that every once in a while where it's like sometimes you'll be like, you're on a roll and you're like, hey, you're stupid and you're funny and you're not, and it's like you get that pullback to reality. It's like, hey, don't be an asshole. You're not really an asshole.
Yeah,
just
someone who tells you
Right, like,
what you just
check
said.
yourself
was
lest you
really-
regret yourself.
So what's the main thing that you said? Are you allowed to share it?
God, I don't even remember. That's bad because I don't remember what I said, but
So
I'm
have
sure
you
it was
really changed your behavior?
no,
Did
I
you
mean,
learn anything?
clearly it didn't. Clearly
All
I
right.
didn't.
Well, it's interesting because my employers also called me out on something and it made me change my behavior. So I didn't start living on my own until I was 26. I was still living with my
Wow.
parents. And keep in mind, I had been working since I was 18. I had money saved. There was no reason why I wasn't living on my own at that point. But my parents are very old school. They believe that an Armenian woman should continue living with their parents until she gets married. And I kind of bought into that. I was like, yeah, I don't want to move out until I have a husband, which is ridiculous. And then finally, Steve and Jank, both my bosses, it's funny calling them bosses because they're also like friends, so it's weird. But anyway, they called me out. They're like, you're 26 years old, you have a career, and you're living with your mom. That's ridiculous. Like, you need to get your own place. And I didn't realize how pathetic I was until I finally did get my own place. And I was like, oh my God, this is what life is supposed to be like, right? Because I remember, like, when you're living with your parents, it doesn't matter how old you are, right? It's like 10:30, you got to call and check in, like,
Yeah.
hey, Mom, I'm okay. I just want to make sure you're not worried about me, okay? You can go to sleep now. Like, it was the worst. But my parents are awesome, super supportive, and as a result of staying home for so long, I did save a lot of money. So,
Yeah,
love
I think you
guys.
made a mistake.
Yeah, you think I
I think
did?
you totally made a mistake.
lo-
Oh my
I-
God, if I could have milked that for any longer.
Growing up is for losers.
Losers. Live
It's
in
a
your
trap.
parents' basement.
It's a trap. Don't
It's a
do it.
trap.
All right, guys. Well, tell us what you were called out on. Was there some shady behavior that someone basically confronted you about? We do want to hear your stories, so comment in the section below. And as always, you guys know how this goes. We will see you guys soon.